at 23.90, 15.01. But at 23.97, 96 share, 100 shares are up for grab if you want to buy them. The lowest asking price and the highest bid price, they are called inside quotes. Okay. If you're going to buy only one share, you're, you're going to buy from the inside ask. If you're going to sell one share, you're going to sell it inside bid. Of course, if you want to sell 5,000 shares, you can't get that price. It has to be some cumulative of those. So those two are called the inside quotes. Only the wrong one. Again, this is just a definition. In fact, that is the entirety of my discussion on that question. That's the definition. All right. Again, since you haven't read the chapter, you don't know what that means. Uh, the so-called supplemental liquidity providers, these are essentially market makers. Okay. And they say, okay, for a given stock or a set of stocks, uh, they're willing to buy at a certain price, certain number of shares, and they're willing to sell at a certain price for a certain number of shares. And these guys always trade on for their own account. Okay, they're essentially dealers, market makers. Okay, how about this one? Current price is 18.24. The price was down 23 cents. Current dividend yield is 2.4%. What was yesterday's closing price if the dividend was 40 cents per quarter? It's kind of from the old days. In the old days, you actually looked at Wall Street Journal. You had the current price, how much it changed and stuff. Now you have apps. You know exactly what yesterday's closing price was, but calculate today's closing price using dividend yields. Oh, you already know that. I'm sorry. Uh, in this case, yeah, you don't even need dividend yields. 18.24 minus 23 cents plus since it declined. Okay. Okay. Now, as far as stocks are concerned, there are two major markets. One of them is New York Stock Exchange, where you actually have a physical building where the trading happens, where they ring the bell. The other is NASDAQ. NASDAQ is an electronic environment. There is no physical space. In NASDAQ, there are multiple market makers for any number of stocks. In New York Stock Exchange, each stock gets one so-called designated market maker. These guys are actually required to maintain a two-sided market. That means they're willing to buy a certain number of shares at a certain price, and they're willing to sell at a certain price. So they are required to make markets. But for their benefit, they see the order flow. They basically buy at their bid, sell at their offer. As long as there's a lot of transaction, you make money. In supplemental liquidity providers, they don't have to do it. They can do it, but they don't have to. All right. This actually is kind of like a trick question. This the firm has 415,000 shares, current market value of 42 a share. You have 84 and a half K shares. There are 4 seats available next time, and they use cumulative voting. In order to guarantee a seat, how much money do we have to spend? Well, the idea is first figure out how many shares do you need. The formula is number of shares divided by n plus 1 plus 1 share, n being the number of open shares. So if you divide 145 by 5, 415 by 5, you get 83,000 shares plus 1. You already own 84.5, 0. And that's pretty much how we arrive at. Let's say you had 82.5. Then you would have had to buy 501 shares, multiplied with that current stock price. You figure out how much you need. Okay, these guys are paying a constant annual dividend. This is the simplest of the cases. The value of the firm is expected dividend next year divided by the discount rate. That's all you need. Okay. All right. This one is more complicated, but first I'm going to go through kind of the algebraic how I'm doing it. I'll also show you how to do this in templates. Okay. Think of the value as present value of first 2 dividends you're going to get. Then after those dividends, you still own the stock. So you need to calculate the value of that stock in present value terms. And value 2 years from now, 2 years from now, this company is going to be paying dividends that grow at a constant rate. We know how to value that. So it's D3 divided by R minus G. And D3, I made a mistake here. That should be D2. You take the dividend in year 2, grow it by 1 year. I mean, I did the actual numbers correct, but so the third year dividends is going to be 173, which means value at the end of second year is going to be 1686. You just need to calculate present values of those and add them up. And how to do that in the template we have developed on Monday.